Sometimes it can get a little confusing as to what exists in the Star Wars universe. For example, do we accept the word of our new friends in the canon, or do we trust our longtime friends in Legends, who we could always go to for much needed answers? Either way, there are times when two versions of events take place for the same Star Wars topic, one that exists in the canon and one that exists in Legends. Oftentimes, these changes are minor, but other times they can be quite dramatic. That is why I've decided to start a new series called Canon Versus Legends, to look into both the canon and Legends perspectives of a Star Wars topic so that we can then discuss which version of events we like better. It'll be great! In fact, I'm more excited about it than the time I invited Padme over to Netflix and chill. I thought that we'd start the series off by examining the canon and Legends version of events surrounding the creation of the Clone Army, the military force that fought for the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars. Let's start off with the canon version, shall we? In the canon, the concept of creating a clone army as a grand army to fight for and protect the Republic started with Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, a human male from the Cassandran worlds who acquired a seat on the Jedi High Council prior to the invasion of Naboo. As an individual gifted with the power of foresight, Sifo Dyas came to hold the view that a military force was necessary on the basis that he foresaw the galaxy being thrusted into a full-scale and galaxy-wide conflict. Sifo Dyas' advocacy for the creation of an army for the Republic caused him to clash with the Jedi High Council, as they did not share his beliefs about the dangers that the Republic faced. Due to these tensions between Sifo Dyas and the other members of the Jedi High Council, he was removed from his position on the Council as his ideas for a Republic army were deemed to be too extreme. However, Sifo Dyas' expulsion from the Jedi High Council did not quell his dire view of what was to come, nor did it end his belief that an army to protect the Republic was an absolute necessity. Committing to successfully complete his project for an army, Sifo Dyas chose to carry out this desire without the consent of the Council by approaching the Kaminoans, a species who specialized in the science of cloning. Upon contacting the Kaminoans, Sifo Dyas gave the impression that he was a representative of the Jedi High Council and that the clone army had been requested by the Galactic Senate, despite the fact that in truth, he was acting unilaterally, in secret, and without instructions from either the Senate or the Jedi Order. Unaware of any of the deception on the part of Sifo Dyas, the Kaminoans accepted his request, and he was successful in secretly commissioning the Kaminoans to grow a clone army for the Republic. Ultimately, however, Sifo Dyas would not live to see the completion of the clone army project. Unbeknownst to him, the Sith were secretly watching his actions from the shadows and plotted to murder Sifo Dyas in order to remove him from the picture and take over the clone army going forward in order to further their own ambitions. Towards this end, Count Dooku, the former Jedi Master who'd fallen to the dark side to become the Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus, hired the Pike Syndicate to murder his former friend, an offer they accepted in order to put themselves in an advantageous position relative to other rival crime families. The Pikes succeeded in murdering Sifo Dyas by shooting his shuttle down over Obadiah's moon, and then obtaining and turning over Sifo Dyas' corpse to Dooku as proof that they carried out the hit. After Sifo Dyas' death, the Sith gained control over the Clone Army project to ultimately destroy the Republic and the Jedi Order and rule the galaxy. Once in command of the project, Darth Tyrannus recruited the bounty hunter Jango Fett to be the genetic template of the Clone Army. Gaining command of the Clone Army at this early time in the project allowed the Sith to install biochips into the brains of the clone troopers during an early stage in their development that contained Protocol 66, a crucial aspect in the Sith's success in claiming control of the galaxy. So, if that's the canon version of events in relation to the creation of the Clone Army, then you must be thinking, what happened between Padme and me? Well, that relationship just wasn't meant to be, I guess. She said she fell in love with some Jedi, who was like totally brave and strong, and a great friend, and just a guy who deeply cared and respected others apparently. She also said that he could do things with the Force that I just couldn't, whatever that means. Now that you mention it, I'm sure everything turned out great for those two lovebirds. Either way, it was for the best, because it gave me more time to work on my project of balancing the canon and legends in order to make every Legends character, planet, and story perfectly fit and align back within the canon. And if you have 780 hours, I'd love to run it by all of you once the project is completed. But getting back to our Versus series, let's see how the creation of the clone army unfolded in Legends, which is actually quite close to the canon version, except for the important intervention of a particular Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Plagueis, the master of Darth Sidious. By the time of Palpatine's chancellorship, the Jedi had to take on a larger and larger role in the protection of the Republic due to the fact that the Republic had chosen the path of demilitarization and gradually scaling down its military following the new Sith Wars, roughly 1,000 years before the events of A New Hope. Therefore, it fell to the Jedi to keep the peace within the galaxy. However, as the Jedi began to face numerous crises that required their intervention simultaneously, individuals within the Jedi Order started to sense a darkness approaching, wherein their numbers would be grossly insufficient to defend the Republic, thereby requiring a larger army to adequately fight for the Republic. Similar to the events seen in the canon version, Jedi Master and High Council member Sifo Dyas, again a human hailing from the Cassandran worlds and gifted with the ability of precognition, was one of these individuals who sensed the coming darkness that would threaten the Republic. 52 years before the events of A New Hope, the Jedi Sifo Dyas, Dooku, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Jocasta Nu traveled to a meeting on Dooku's homeworld of Sereno. At this meeting, Sifo Dyas was approached and confronted by Higo Damask, who was actually the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Plagueis, who represented the Mask Holdings, a financial group that was closely affiliated with the intergalactic banking clan. Sifo Dyas and Damask discussed their concerns regarding the future of the Republic. However, Sifo Dyas was rigid and harsh in his discussions with Damask and was reluctant to agree with concerns voiced by Damask and Dooku. Following this meeting, while watching his friend Dooku become progressively more and more disillusioned with the Jedi Order and the Senate, Sifo Dyas ultimately became convinced that dark times were unavoidable, and when he attempted to convince the Jedi High Council of the same, a decision that would ultimately result in his removal from the Council, his warnings fell on deaf ears. 32 years before the events in A New Hope, roughly 20 years after the meeting on Sereno, Sifo Dyas was again approached by Higo Damask, this time at a gathering on Coruscant that was hosted by then Supreme Chancellor Finis Valorum. Once again, the two openly discussed and admitted that they felt a growing darkness descending upon the galaxy. However, this time, in an attempt to manipulate Sifo Dyas, the Dark Lord of the Sith Darth Plagueis informed him of the Kaminoans, who had the knowledge required for cloning that would allow them to grow an army that could be used when needed. Darth Plagueis needed to manipulate Sifo Dyas into placing the order for the clone army to be used to further his aims, as he believed that the Kaminoans would only accept the order if it was requested by a Jedi. Although Sifo Dyas was skeptical at first, he ultimately decided to approach the Kaminoans soon after the gathering on Coruscant and requested that they create a clone army for the Republic in secret, paid for with the funds provided by Darth Plagueis, without the knowledge or approval from the Senate or from the Jedi Order. Similarly to what occurred in the canon version, Sifo Dyas would not live to see the completion of the clone army project. Soon after he commissioned the Kaminoans to create the clone army, Sifo Dyas was contacted by Supreme Chancellor Valorum, who provided him with a secret mission to negotiate with the Pike Syndicate of Obadiah, which was kept secret and out of the public eye given that the government was negotiating with a criminal organization. Therefore, the Jedi High Council did not have knowledge of this mission. Unbeknownst to Sifo Dyas, his former friend Dooku had fallen to the dark side, and Dooku and his master Darth Sidious knew of his ordering of the clone army, and set a plan into motion to murder Sifo Dyas to take full control of the clone trooper project. The murder of Sifo Dyas would also act as Dooku's first test as a Sith. At the behest of Darth Tyrannus, when Sifo Dyas was assigned to a mission to negotiate peace discussions between warring tribes on Felucia, the Pikes shot down Sifo Dyas' shuttle over Obadiah, causing the shuttle to crash land on its moon and resulting in the death of Sifo Dyas. Upon his death, the clone army project was continued on by Dooku, where it remained a secret to the Republic and Jedi Order as it had been under the control of Sifo Dyas. To ensure that the secret did not become known, Dooku removed all records of the planet Kamino from the Jedi archives, in addition to 37 other systems, including Dagobah, which had been judged by Dooku's master Darth Sidious as having potential value to the Sith. With the clone army in the hands of the Sith, it would later be an important aspect to the Sith's destruction of the Jedi Order and the Republic, and their retaking control of the galaxy. You know, now that I've had time to think about it and reflect, perhaps I've been wrong to spend so much time thinking about the differences that exist between the Canon and Legends, and to view them as two separate warring and incongruous parties. Perhaps it hasn't been the Canon and Legends that's been out of balance this entire time. Maybe it's been me that's out of balance. Oh, of course, and that's why Padme left. Not because she found some hunk of a Jedi, but because I've been going down a path she just couldn't follow. I changed. I've been so concerned about the redemption of my old friends that I haven't worked to properly foster the relationship with my new friends. Maybe a Versus series will only perpetuate and enable my fall. Well, not anymore. I'm gonna be turning over a new leaf. I'm gonna let go of my anger and let go of my hate towards the evil empire. And I'm gonna keep that promise to myself that sits unfinished on my vision board. I'm gonna fulfill my childhood dream of visiting every planet in the Outer Rim. Yeah, that's right. I've heard Geonosis is beautiful this time of year. Or maybe I'll start with Hoth. Or Moraban. Or Felucia. Opportunity and happiness is what's in my future. It's a new day for the Non-Canon Expert. In fact, maybe I'll start going by my real name. My real name of... Wait a second. What the hell is that? So there we have it, the Canon and Legends version of events surrounding the creation of the clone army by me, the Non-Canon Expert. Don't forget to let us know in the comments section below what version is your favorite. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for lost love.